Hey, TikTok, I want to talk about people talking about time speeding up, time being manipulated, and that kind of thing. So we know that Daniel chapter 7, verse 25 says that times are going to be changed. But I want to go to the Book of Enoch. This is the Book of Enoch, large print. And somebody had asked me before to see the actual print inside. It says right on the front, large print. Anyway, chapter 80 of Enoch, it says in verse 2, "And during the days of sinners, the years will become shorter." Time is manipulated. "Their children will grow slowly." So we have development is impaired because the environment no longer supports life properly. One of the things is the quality of our food. Our food is trash now. Pardon me. Time no longer heals, food no longer builds, and growth no longer unfolds naturally. Okay, then it says, "Everything on the earth will be altered and not appear in its proper season." So we lose our seasons. They are not behaving in the normal way. And then it says, "The harvest of the earth will be late. It will not ripen in their season, and the fruits of the trees will not come forth in their appointed time. The moon will alter her order and not appear at her scheduled time." Anyway, I just wanted to bring that up because it's in the Bible. It's in the Ethiopian Bible in the Book of Enoch. So we already know these things are going to happen. Time is going to be sped up. Time is going to be compressed. And in the Book of Revelation, I believe it's also chapter 7, it says that the saints will be worn out because of this compressed time. When you don't have a chance to process life as you go, time is compressed. We don't have a chance to become regulated. We stay dysregulated. And that causes all kinds of addictions. So anyway, I wanted to just bring these up, and I will see you next time. Thanks. Oh, I will link the Ethiopian Bible below. Thanks. Have a good day. Bye.
I don't know who this is for, but this is going to be double confirmation. And call me what you want, but you can't call me not a child of God. And I know that my Father speaks, and when he does, I am a sheep who listens. I just put out a word about moving. I have been to my daughter's school to pick her up for the past 5 years, almost 6 years. And I have never seen this car with this license plate in front of me until after I released a word telling you guys that God was telling me that people are getting ready to move out of state, across states, across countries. Like, it's not going to be down the road or in your local city or a city next to yours. It's going to be far away. Look at what I'm behind or in front of. Behind. OMG, move. Don't tell me that ain't a sign. So whoever you are, stop hesitating. Apply for them jobs. Apply for that house, whether you need assistance or not. Whatever you need to do to get set to where it is God's told you to go, it's time to do it. It's time to do it. Quickly, suddenly. It's time to do it.
I'm standing in front of this U-Haul. So let this be a sign that you're moving. You're moving on from that toxic relationship. You're moving on from the past that held you in bondage. You're even moving locations. It's time for you to get that house. But just know that everything that God promised you, he's going to give it to you. You've been faithful. You've been fighting. And you've endured. So when you see this U-Haul, empower and remind yourself that it's time for you to move. Move into the next. God said, "Behold, I do a new thing." So it's time for you to walk into your new thing. Whatever that new thing is for you, this is your time. And I decree and declare that everything new that God has for you shall find you. In Jesus' name, God bless you.
He said, when you see the city surrounded, those of you who are not in the city, don't come in the city. You're too late. It's going to be people as we go there, huge amounts of people, floods of people hearing about it all around the world. Oh, I'm going to make my way there. I'm going to make my way there. Once that city's surrounded by armies, we're flying to the secret place. We'll be borne up on eagle's wings. We're in the secret place. He said, do not come in the city. Once they surround Jerusalem, they're going to come for us. God is going to bore us up on eagle's wings and take us to the secret place. Angels are going to give in charge over us so that we don't dash our foot against a stone.
Hey, listen to me. You do not want to be caught in the inner city when all hell breaks loose. Now, I get it that a lot of people are not financially stable or capable to move out of the inner city. Those of you who do know God that are in the inner cities of Detroit, Baltimore, Texas, Memphis, Kentucky, California, Florida, wherever you may be, don't worry. God will make a provision for you. God will move on you at that time to get out of the city. But you do not want to be in the city. Because you have to understand, the people that are in the city that are wicked, that are without Christ, they are going to be wiped out. Okay, Donald Trump just had a cabinet meeting about that. Their main preface of war is to get rid of the undesirables as they have deemed the people in the city. Now, as for myself, thanks be to God, I don't live in the city. I don't want to go back to the city because the city has gotten worse. The city has shown itself to be more and more demonic. Now, am I saying that the outskirts and the suburbans are any better? No. But you don't want to be caught in the city because the military main goal is to get rid of those who are undesirable. And this is a spiritual replacing of the people. Okay, that's why Christ said flee to the wilderness, flee to the outskirts, flee to the parts where not too many people are. It's not saying that nobody's out there, but get the hell out of the city. You don't want to be in the city. Okay? You don't want to be in the city where there's knuckleheads. You don't want to be in the city where the Triple K will be coming in their F-150 trucks. You don't want to be in the city when they implement Rex 84, which is martial law. You do not want to be in the city. Now, a lot of people say, well, what about the hospice centers and what about grandmas and granddads? God will make provisions for them. Okay, God will make provisions for them, but this is an exciting time, and it's also a terrifying time for those who are without Christ and those who are still young in the faith. Get out of the city. If your lease is getting ready to be up, move somewhere outside of the city. It doesn't have to be a nice house. It doesn't have to be $150,000 to $200,000 house. Get you a decent crib, get you an apartment, and get out of the city. All of this perception of how I'm living or how you're living in life, it doesn't matter anymore. Downsize and get out of the city. Get out.
The wicked are afraid of everything, but those who live right are as brave as lions.
Let me begin with a warning. To the United States, history shows that those who mistake power for justice eventually face consequences they did not foresee. Today, the world discusses a scenario that would shake international norms, the capture of Nicolas Maduro and his arrival in New York. If such an event were to occur, it would not be an act of law, but of precedent-breaking force. Venezuela's crisis is real. Sanctions are real. Political divisions are real. But replacing diplomacy with detention would confirm fears long voiced by sovereign nations that rules apply only when convenient. Russia has witnessed this pattern before, in Yugoslavia, in Iraq, in Libya. Each time, intervention was promised as stability, and each time the future delivered chaos. If a sitting head of state can be seized under political pressure, then no nation is safe from reinterpretation of law. The future in this case would not be order, but acceleration toward a divided world where trust collapses and alliances harden. This is not a threat, it is a forecast.
tell believers it's time to flee to the mountains. It's time. In the word it said, when you see the abomination of desolation sitting in the holy place, flee to the mountains, right? Well, that's about to happen. So it's time to flee to the mountains. If you're not able to leave the country and flee out the country, we need to be going to a rural place. To get out of the cities and go to somewhere rural. We're putting our money together to get some land in a rural place in Texas. And if you want to join, just DM me and let me know. That's the only way for the people of the Lord that believe in the sea. It's time to flee to the mountains once again. So DM me if you need help, if you're not able to leave the country.
This morning, 100,000 residents under evacuation warnings in Washington because of catastrophic flooding. More than a foot of rain bringing multiple rivers to historic levels.
This is unlike anything we've seen in a long, long time. I think it's surpassed every flooding record we've had.
Neighborhoods inundated with several feet of water. Residents racing to sandbag areas to save their properties.
We're barely keeping up with it.
Eastside Fire and Rescue crew saving 2 drivers using a Navy chopper, one of them clinging onto a tree. 68-year-old William Elliott was rescued by fire officials after he had to evacuate his flooded home.
That's one of the hardest things I've had to do. Just pack a couple of backpacks and not knowing what you're going to find when you get back.
The Coast Guard rescued these 4 people after rising waters forced the family into their attic and out onto the roof. And the Kings County Sheriff's Office rescued this man Wednesday, stranded on top of his car, surrounded by rushing water.
Back at it again with more Bible study. Come on! We are now in chapter 19 of the Book of Genesis, where Abraham and the angels go to Sodom and Gomorrah, and they meet up with Lot. Lot brings them in. Come on, man, I got y'all, man. Gave them good food, let them have them somewhere to sleep, you feel me? All that stuff. The angels wasn't messing with it at first, but they like, you know, come on, it's good. Then the people of Sodom, men I should say, came up to the house and asked Lot, where them folk at that you brought in there? We trying to have sex with them. So Lot like, man, leave that alone, man. Leave them alone, man. You know what I'm saying? They good people, man. You know what I'm saying? I gotta protect them. They start talking about some crazy stuff like, you feel me? You know, y'all, I got 2 virgin daughters. Y'all can have them, but I gotta protect them. That's amazing to me. But I understand the situation, you feel me? I understand you gotta protect them and all that stuff, but you could have came up with another way. But anyways, they ended up seizing the house anyway. They went up in there, the angels blinded them, and the angels told Lot, get everybody you love out of here, bro. Because the Lord about to destroy this place. He about to destroy the whole city. So Lot, he running around telling everybody, man, the Lord finna destroy the city. We gotta get going. We gotta get going. So, you know, they thought it was, feel me, he was joking. You know what I'm saying? Y'all think the Lord a game? Like, nah. So Lot not taking the angels so serious. So the angels ended up forcing his hand. He ended up grabbing his peoples, and he like, y'all gotta go. Get up out of here. So, you feel me? He push them up out the city. And as they going, he said, do not turn back to the city. Do not look back. Y'all not getting the message, though. Let's think of it today. If you know the Lord is about to destroy the city when he comes back, the city which is the world, you have to understand, you have to walk with the Lord, not the world. Because if you're walking with the world, you're going to be destroyed with the world. You know what I mean? So when Lot and his family was running from the city, his wife looked back at the city as the Lord was destroying it, and she turned into a pillar of salt. And as I said, if you follow in this world, when Jesus come back, boy, you're going to go with the world. I'm not going to cap. Moral of the story. Do not walk with this world, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters. Walk with the Lord. Because when you walk with the world, you're walking away from the Lord. God bless y'all, man. Y'all have a good day today. God bless, for sure.
Earlier today, ICE shot and killed Renee Nicole Good, a U.S. citizen and legal observer in Minneapolis, leaving her 6-year-old child orphaned. And in the wake of this, you're going to see a lot of people saying, well, she was a threat. She was trying to run. She should have just complied. But if you're someone who's been observing ICE kidnapping people off the street to send them to detention facilities all over the country, you've been reading about the torture and deaths that are happening in these detention facilities and how U.S. citizens caught in these facilities are being kept there despite having U.S. birth certificates, what would you do? Would you really just comply and allow yourself to be disappeared by the state? It's not lost on me that this exact type of state-sanctioned violence is the justification Trump and conservatives are using for their invasion of Venezuela. And yet, still, people are struggling to connect the dots. If this type of state-sanctioned violence is authoritarian and dictatorial in other countries, what does that say about this country? This is allegedly one of the ICE agents involved in Renee Nicole Good's death, but it is so important that we recognize that her death is not just on him. It is on Kristi Noem. It is on acting ICE Director Todd Lyons. It is on Deputy Director Madison Sheehan. It is on Donald Trump himself. As there are ways we can support Miss Good's family, I will be sharing them, but for now, may she rest in peace. May we continue to fight for the justice she deserves, and may we not allow fear of what happened to her keep us from fighting for our communities.
God responds to one thing when you pray. And if you don't have it, your prayers will not work. And Jesus said this very plainly. He said, whatever you ask for in prayer and believe that you already have it, it will be yours. And that wasn't a motivational line to make you feel good. It's a law that works every single time when you apply it the way that God intended it to work. But most people break this law. They pray while believing the exact opposite of the thing that they're praying for. So they ask God for a provision while believing that they're going to struggle forever. They ask God for a breakthrough while believing that their situation is somehow different and a breakthrough could never happen. And that's why it typically never does. So let me show you what's possible when you truly apply the principle that Jesus taught. There's this woman I know who lost her job unexpectedly. And she called me in a panic. Will, I just lost my job. What am I going to do? And I said, okay, I hear you. What are you afraid of now that you've lost your job? And she said, I have bills to pay. I got a family to feed. How am I supposed to do that without a job? Like, I've given years to this company, years, and I can't believe they let me go like that. And that's the same thing that most people do. They look at what's happening in their lives today and immediately decide what it means about their future. So they create a story that's filled with fear, lack, and limitation, and then they go to God from that place. And that's why it feels at times God isn't listening. So I told her, what if the problem isn't what you think it is? What if God allowed this to happen because he knew you wouldn't leave that job on your own? What if he's actually making room for something bigger, something better than what you settled for? Then I said, instead of focusing on not having a job, not being able to feed your family, not being able to take care of things, I want you to shift your focus and think about God already making a way. He's already got the next step available for you. And I taught her a simple technique to increase her certainty in that outcome. And I told her to do it for 21 days. And during that process, she began to apply for jobs that she wasn't qualified for. And a few weeks later, she was offered a leadership role at a new company making $25,000 more than she was making before. And this is exactly how miracles unfold in your life. See, God can do all things, but there's a few things that he won't do. He's not going to choose what you believe for you. He gave you free will and the power to choose that yourself. And then he said, according to your faith, according to your certainty, according to what you believe, so shall it be done to you. So here's my question for you today. What are you choosing to believe? Are you choosing to believe that your best days are behind you and all life has to offer is pain, is heartache, trouble? Or are you choosing to believe in the things that you desire, knowing without a shadow of a doubt that God can fulfill those desires and you're living your life today as if it's already done? Only one of those will actually create that desire in your life. So make sure you choose wisely. If you caught the message of this video, drop your biggest takeaway below in the comments, share this video, and make sure you follow me for more just like this. I love you.
Let me tell you, when God tell you to do something, don't wait for it. Don't take an extra second to do it. Don't even sit there and pray about it. When the Holy Spirit moves to tell you to do something simple, just act on it. You never know what somebody has prayed for, and God has just sent you to bless them with something. It can be the little thing. It can be a text message. It can be a video you should have posted. It can be $5 in their gas tank. It can be an encouraging word. But when he talking to you, you start operating in your purpose and your gifts, don't discard it. Pass along the message that somebody needed from you. He's using you. He's using you over and over again, and it's a blessing to be used. So don't hold back from whatever that feeling inside that you get. Just let it be known. Just let it be open.
act on it in that moment when someone.
Did God call for you to move to a whole nother state, a whole nother country, a whole nother place on faith in him? If so, this post is going to help you. So I'll start. So I remember going out to my first time going to Dallas, Texas. But before I went to Dallas, Texas, I remember that I had been seeing Dallas tags all over the place randomly all of a sudden, and Texas tags, that is. And I ended up having a dream, and the angel came to me in the dream and said to me, how many times did the Lord have to tell you to go to Texas, right? So I said, okay, Lord, well, I'll go to Dallas, Texas, because Dallas was really laid on my heart about Texas. So I really did not have money to go at first. I ended up praying to the Lord and said, Lord, I don't have the money to go to Texas, but you're calling me to Texas. So if that's what you're calling me to do, I ask you to supply the money for it. And I left it alone. That later on that day, my grandmother gave me $200 for me to get enough, which was enough for me to get a ticket to go to Dallas, Texas. Glory be to God. So I ended up doing that. And 3 days before I left to go to Dallas, Texas, I was scared because I didn't have no money. I was like, Lord, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't even know where I'm going to go. Glory be to God. I only visited a couple of times, but I don't know Texas like that. So I ended up praying, and I told the Lord the truth. I said, Lord, I'm scared. I want to do it, but I'm scared. And I'm going to go anyway, but I'm scared, Lord. So I need you to help me. 3 days before I left, this woman of God called me, and she said, I know you're getting ready to leave and go to Texas, so I want to sow into your life $5,000. And she hung up and called back, and she said, and my mom wants to sow $1,000 more into your life. So before I went to Dallas, Texas, I had $6,000 in my account heading into Dallas, Texas. Glory be to God. And from there, I ended up staying in an extended stay for some time. I thought I was going to get an apartment, but the Lord desired for me to stay in the extended stay at the moment in time. So I stayed there for some days and for some months. Glory be to God. But God began to teach me a whole lot of stuff. And this is going to go into her testimony. Glory be to God.
Okay, yeah. So my testimony, it started really in 2023 around December when I first moved to Texas. I moved to Texas literally off of faith because God been telling me to move to Texas since 2022, but I was disobedient around that time, so I never went because I had just so much fear. I was scared. And then I had family members telling me, well, you ain't got no money, you ain't got this, you ain't got that. So me listening to them instead of listening to God, I stayed there way longer than I should have. And so when I did go out and move to Texas around December 2023, I moved out there to Texas. I moved out around like Fort Worth, Texas, and then I stayed in a hotel. This is when I had my plans all together. I had money in my bank account. I had all this stuff to literally, everything was just straight because I had a job and everything. But I had family members calling me, telling me, you need to come back home, you need to do this, you need to do that. And when money started to act a little funny, y'all, I was like, well, dang, maybe I am being, disobedient to God. Maybe I do need to come back home. And that's what happened. I ended up going back home, y'all. And God still didn't allow me to stay there longer than what I should have. I ended up staying there for about 3 months. And then God was calling me again. When I went back home, God was talking to me about his timing and everything. And so I felt as though, I could have went out there prematurely. But the whole time, no, I went out there the right time that God told me. I just came back out of fear. So when I was back at home, God was calling me back to Texas, and he gave me a dream, and this dream was literally manifesting right before my eyes. And he gave me a dream that I had about a year ago of me moving to Texas, and I was getting married and everything. So this is how I knew that God was calling me to Texas, and my reason for that was just to move out there, meet my husband, and get married. But not only just that, but to also for God to strip some things off of my mind, that poverty mindset, that slavery mindset, that Egypt mindset, you know what I'm talking about. So when I went, when I had this dream, I said, you know what, okay, let's go ahead and let's do it. I I had $200 to my name then, and I said, God, I just need an open door. And so I ended up applying for a nursing job because I was a CNA at the time, and I ended up getting a job interview, and that's all I needed. That's all I needed to, like, I'm going out there. I don't care. And then I had family members again telling me, like, well, how you going to live out there? You ain't got no apartment. You ain't got no money. You ain't got this. You ain't got that. And I'm like, well, I got a job interview. And I'm going because I got a job interview. And I still had family members tell me, well, how you know you're going to get the job? I said, I know I'm going to get the job. I know, because I know my work ethic. And I know that God uses me for his glory. So I knew that this was his timing. Yes. And so when I went out there, I went out there with like $200 to my name. I had got into an altercation with a family member before I left, and after that was just my cue to go. Like, I'm like, you know what, I ain't fooling around with y'all no more. I'm about to go. Yeah. So I got on the plane. I had $200. That was enough for me to get my plane ticket, and I got on that plane and never looked back ever since. The moment that I stepped foot in Dallas, it felt like peace, a peace that surpasses all understanding. And I knew that I was in the right place. Around that time, I went to Fort Worth, Texas, and I ended up going, I didn't even have no money, y'all. I landed in Texas, didn't have no money to even get to the interview. But I changed my clothes and I got ready for my interview. I didn't know how I was going to get there, but I had faith that I was going to get there. And so I prayed to the Lord inside the airport, and I was like, God, I don't know what to do. The Lord told me to call my brother, and my brother blessed me with $100. That was enough for me to get to my interview. So when I got to the interview, I already knew I was going to get the job on the spot. So when I got to the interview, I'm coming in with my bags. I literally just got off the plane, so I'm coming in with my bags, all of that. And I ended up talking to this lady, and indeed, I got the job right then and there. So I got the job right there on the spot. And I still didn't know where I was going to lay my head at, y'all, because I didn't have no apartment, none of that, right? But by faith, I had enough money in my bank account to get an Uber to a hotel, a La Quinta hotel that I was familiar with. And so I ended up Ubering there just off of faith, not having no money for no deposit for the hotel, for no room. I had no money for that. But I ended up meeting this Uber, and the Uber was a woman of God. This is how God started moving, y'all. She was a woman of God, and I began to tell her my testimony. We just started having a conversation. I began to tell her my testimony, how God just brought me out here, and I'm just stepping out on faith. And this was around the same time where, as I'm having a conversation with her, God is telling me he's sending the ravens to feed me. And so after that, after we had that conversation, the lady was just so moved by my testimony that she said, you know what, I want to sow into your life. And so she sold $100 into my life and gave me $10 in cash. That $100 was enough for me to get the deposit for the hotel and enough for me to get the room. And the $10 was enough for me to get some food that night. And when I tell you, I praised the Lord. When I entered into that hotel room, y'all, I praised him like never before. Like never before. And literally the very next day, I had to go to my orientation. And I called the lady. I was like, well, hey, do I need to, you know, have my scrubs and stuff for orientation? I didn't know nothing. But she knew that I was a woman of God. She knew that, you know, I did not come to play, okay? I came to work. And so I went to orientation. Once again, I do not know where I'm going to lay my head at for this day, because I only had enough for that night. And then we're going to wait until part 2.
Yeah, we're going to make a part 2.
We're going to make a part 2.
pain,